Hi fifth graders, it's your art teacher Mr. Wedge, and today for art we're going to draw some optical illusion art, or op art. So for this project you're going to need paper, pencil, or anything to draw with, and scissors, and you're also going to need some light cardboard or cardstock, poster board. This is a piece of cardboard that I cut out of the back of a cereal box. You could use that. This is just a file folder. I'll probably just use the cereal box. I think it's a little bit thicker. If it's too thick, it's going to be hard to cut. If it's too thin, it's going to be hard to trace. So anything that's thicker than paper will work for this. Okay? And the first step you should always do is put your name on the back. And whatever your class code is underneath. Flip it over, and this is going to be op art, but we're going to use a stencil. So the way Bridget Riley painted this painting, this is called Cataract 5, and she painted this in 1967, and she used a stencil to make this. And she just traced the same shape over and over again, but it looks 3D, it looks like waves coming at you. So once you have your paper and your light cardboard, you're just going to cut just a strip out of it, and you just want to make sure it's longer than your paper is. Okay, see that? See how it's longer? That way. And I'm going to just cut a pattern. It could be a wavy pattern, it could be a zigzag pattern, whatever you want. I'm going to do wavy for this, and I'm just going to kind of turn the cardboard as I'm cutting. The waves don't have to be exactly the same. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay? And you've got an extra one if you need it, but it's really just scrap. And so now, this part's a little bit tricky. I've got my pencil, I've got my paper with my name on it, I've got my stencil that I made, and I'm going to start with the top of my stencil lined up with my paper, and the wavy part all the way over at the edge, just like that. If you're left-handed, it might be easier to draw this way. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start like this. And actually, you can go right off the edge, so there's just some white showing a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is just trace wherever I see the paper. Trace the edge of the stencil I made all the way down. Then I'm going to slide it over, slide my stencil over, and I'm also going to go up a little bit. So over a little bit and up a little bit. And then I'm going to trace it again. And if you notice, what's happening is when I traced it, over here, it's far away from the first line I drew, but when it got to here, it got really close. And then far away, and then close again. And far away and close again. And that's actually how Bridget Riley did this whole picture. You can see, like, sometimes the lines are thin and then they get thick, and then thin and thick. So the lines she drew and then painted in later, they were close together and then far apart, and then close together and then far apart. So you're just going to keep doing that. Whatever you did at first, just keep doing the same move. So I'm going to go over and up. So over a little bit, up a little bit, so that the lines are close and then far, and then close and then far. Just trace it right down. There we go. Over, up, trace. And I'm going to keep going. So what's going to happen is you're going to keep going, and I can keep going that way, but my stencil ran out of room on the bottom. So what I do is I go over, and then I change direction. I go down this time. And then I'm going to keep repeating that until I run out of room, and I can't go down anymore, and then I'm going to switch again, and I'm going to start going up. And in a lot of Bridget Riley's paintings, you'll see the same thing. Her pattern will go up, and then it'll start going down, and then it'll go up and down. So that's perfectly fine to do. You just want to keep doing the same thing until you can't, and you have to change direction, over, down, and then once you've filled up your whole paper, we can start coloring. So I'm going to keep doing this till my whole paper is filled up. One little tip though, you don't want to go too far away and down, because you won't get this effect. You won't get the spaces that you need. You need big spaces and little spaces on every single line, because that's what gives you the optical illusion that it's 3D. If you go too far away, it won't work. If you go just a little bit, like if I moved it over like that much and down, it's gonna take me all year to do this project. So maybe like as much as your finger right there. Like the big space should be like as big as your finger, I guess. Because you do want to get this done sometime in your lifetime. And yeah, but other than that, you just keep going with your pattern until you've filled up your paper. So there we go. Once you've done that, you could turn it this way. That looks even cooler, maybe. It doesn't really matter which way it goes, okay? If you submit it online, just make sure you take a picture of it the way you want it to go. One thing, if you make abstract art and the person you're giving it to doesn't know which way it's supposed to go, you can just flip it over and put a little T on the back where you want the top to be. So T for top. And that tells the person when they hang it up for you that it needs to go the way you want it, with the top up here. Okay? And just like Bridget Riley did, as long as you color it in with a pattern, you're fine. You can use the same pencil. So I'm just going to start here, make it black. Bridget Riley's op art looks like it was done on a computer, even though she does all of them by hand. So you want to color it in very neatly if you can. Like, good craftsmanship is what we're looking for. So try to stay inside the lines. If you go out a little bit, just clean it up and keep going. You don't have to use a pencil to color it in. You could use markers, you could use a Sharpie, you could use paint if you want. It's kind of tricky to paint this and make it super neat. But if you have a little brush that's really good quality, you could use watercolor for this. And yeah, colored pencils. Crayons would be kind of tough, but colored pencils you get a lot of control and detail with. So I recommend pencil, Sharpie, colored pencil, markers, or watercolor to color it in. And it doesn't even have to be an A-B pattern like this. This is black, white, black, white. You could do any pattern you wanted to, as long as you're repeating the pattern when you color it. And when you've got the whole thing filled up, you're done. So op art, I got to keep going, but I think you get it. So work hard, have fun.